As a writer of women's fiction, my stories tend to focus on how the larger world affects the character's smaller world. For example, my latest novel, Out of Balance, grew out of my interest in how the Great Recession impacted women, particularly women forced into the workplace, like my narrator, Beverly Mail, who was content being a stay-at-home wife and mother. Men lost 3 times as many jobs as women in 2009, according to Falling Behind, the impact of the Great Recession and the budget crisis on California's women and their families, which was published in February 2012 by the California Budget Project. This research coincides with a study conducted by Pew Research Center in 2010, in which 22% of women were found to out-earn their husbands. I started interviewing women to see if these statistics were true. What I discovered is that, although it is true that more women are employed and earning more than their male counterparts, a lot of them are saddened by the burden of being breadwinners. They no longer have the option to take a lower-paying job that might be more fulfilling. They no longer have the luxury of staying home and raising their families or homeschooling their children. They have to work. The men I interviewed are just as confused and disheartened by being thrown into the role of primary caretakers. They do not enjoy the same supportive structure that women have traditionally enjoyed being stay-at-home parents. Some men said it was awkward being the only male room parent at their children's schools. A few said they were even discriminated against. Both men and women have had their worlds thrown out of balance. I'm going to read a scene out of my novel that illustrates a little bit of what I've been talking about. I think the evening went well, between the art exhibit, the dinner, and Eric meeting my boss, until Eric and I are in the car driving to pick up Zenith from V's townhouse. Eric accelerates a little too fast along the freeway on-ramp. His hands grip the steering wheel too tightly, and his voice is edged with frustration. Why did you tell Ted you don't want to have an art exhibit? I shrug and turn up the heater and slip off my shoes. I paint for fun, not money. Eric lifts his eyebrows and moves to the fast lane. The lights from the oncoming cars in the other lane zip by like lightning bugs. If you made money from your art, you wouldn't have to work anymore. My shoulders tense. You mean I wouldn't have to work for the bank anymore, which means I wouldn't have to work for Frank anymore, which is what you really mean. Don't assume I'm a jealous husband, because I'm not. I just don't like you selling yourself short. I'm not selling myself short, I say. I'm not selling myself at all. That's the problem, Eric says. You need to do something to make things happen. Otherwise, you'll just let outside influences determine your destiny. I laugh. You've been hanging out with V too much. All your psychobabble means nothing to me. I paint because I have to. If I painted for money, it would be a job, and I wouldn't be fun anymore. Can't you have fun at a job? Eric turns off the freeway and accelerates up the hill towards V's townhouse. Jobs are for paying the bills. Hobbies are for pleasure. Some people are lucky, and they can do what they love and make money at it. But the rest of us have to make sacrifices. My throat is tight. Let's not talk anymore. I don't want to spoil an otherwise perfect evening. Eric swings into V's driveway and parks. I open up the car door and stalk out into the clear, chilly air. It feels like the whole world has turned upside down, with the empty darkness of the night sky above, contrasting with the belly full of 100,000 tiny lights shining from the city below. Eric stalks around the car and offers his hand. Ready? I shake my head. I never wanted to work. Eric drops his hand to his side and his broad shoulders sag forward. He looks like a beaten dog, but I do not say anything. I just wrap my arms tighter across my body, trying to warm up. I know, Eric says. That's why I'm trying to help. I sigh. Stop trying. I'm doing what I have to do to keep our lives above water. Isn't that enough? Do I really have to gain pleasure from the sacrifice? Really, what do you want from me? Because I've already given everything I have to give. Eric remains speechless. I walk past him up to the door and ring the bell and wait for V to answer. But it's Zenith. "Mommy, how was it?" I step inside and wait for Eric, but he does not move from where he stands with his back toward the house and his hands shoved into his pockets. I can't tell if he's staring at the lights or his feet. "Why is Daddy not coming inside?" Zenith asks. "He needs a time out," I say, shutting the door.